it's wild in light of them being safe. It's kind of hilarious, and I'm glad that Derrick and his children are okay. What up, Fightful fam? Shaquille Majuri here with your Fightful Fix August 27, 2020 edition. We're going to take a look at some wild news involving Derrick Lewis, his kids, and an ATV. Plus, Anderson Silva and Diego Sanchez's next fights may be their last, and Manny Pacquiao's coach sees absolutely nothing to gain in a boxing match with Conor McGregor. Now, before we get going, if you don't mind hitting like and subscribe, that goes such a long way to helping us grow this channel. We really appreciate that. All right, first up, Derrick Lewis posted this absolutely insane Instagram video with security footage from his house. So basically, Derrick Lewis was riding a snazzy ATV, and he was putting one of his children on the ATV with him, in front of him. The kid, I guess in an effort to sort of balance himself or whatever, reached out and clutched onto the accelerator. The ATV goes zooming just past his car and the side of the house, hits some bricks, runs over a small tree and the lawn, and then the ATV almost spins out and flips over. Fortunately, Derrick was able to get a wrangle on it. It came to a nice standstill. He picked his son up promptly and put him off the ATV. And in classic Derrick fashion, he just wrote, "We're okay," with a bunch of facepalm emojis. There's really not much to say about this other than, it's wild in light of them being safe. It's kind of hilarious, and I'm glad that Derrick and his children are okay. Next up, Anderson Silva and Diego Sanchez both say that their next fights may be their last. Dana White previously claimed that Anderson Silva's upcoming headliner versus Uriah Hall on the October 31st Fight Night card would be his retirement fight. Anderson Silva has since confirmed that this will most likely be his last outing. As for the fight itself, I actually really like it. For some, this may seem like too high of a caliber opponent for Anderson Silva in this stage of his career. I would say that Uriah Hall has been famously inconsistent, an incredibly dangerous striker, but I think that Anderson Silva probably has the movement. If you recall, Silva took Adesanya to a decision, and despite it being a pretty clear victory for Adesanya, if he can't finish Anderson Silva, I'm not super inclined to believe that Uriah Hall will. I think this could actually be quite a competitive fight, and you're either going to see Silva ride out into the sunset or put forward a good showing that elevates Uriah Hall. As for Diego Sanchez, he recently said on Mike Swick's podcast that his next fight could be his last fight. He takes on Jake Matthews on September 26th at UFC 253. That is the Adesanya versus Paulo Costa card. I think, this is probably the right call. Diego Sanchez is definitely not a title contender at this stage of his career. That is saying nothing of his abilities. In fact, I think he's technically 3 in his last 4 fights. Mickey Gall, Craig White, and that disqualification win over Michel Pereira. I don't think Diego really has much to prove yet. He's a tremendous athlete, a one-of-a-kind character, an absolute shoo-in Hall of Famer, the only remaining competitor from the original series of The Ultimate Fighter, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it's time for him to, move forward in his life, whether that be coaching or training or whatever it is he desires. Diego doesn't really have anything left to prove. And just think about how long both Diego and Anderson have been in pro MMA. Diego Sanchez has been competing professionally since 2002, June of 2002, and he's been in the UFC for 15 years now. That is absolutely insane, and all the credit in the world to Diego. And Anderson Silva, he joined the UFC in 2006, so a year after Sanchez, but he's been competing in pro MMA since 1997. That means he's retiring after a 23-year-long professional career. One of the greatest of all time. What else is there to say? And as we wrap up here, Justin Fortune, the strength and conditioning coach for Manny Pacquiao, was asked about his thoughts on a potential Pacquiao versus Conor McGregor super fight, and he gave it a big resounding 2 thumbs down. As far as Justin Fortune is concerned, this fight does nothing for Manny Pacquiao's legacy, and in fact, he doesn't believe it'll be at all competitive. He thinks it'll actually be less competitive than the McGregor versus Mayweather fight. He said, quote, "Manny will destroy Conor in 3 rounds." Now, I don't think it's ever really been a matter of legacy. I don't think Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor had anything to do with Floyd's legacy. It was about money, moolah, green, dinero. I've run out of other ways to say money. Cash? Did I say cash? Anywho, I mean, it's a payday, and I don't think Manny Pacquiao has at least outwardly been as money hungry as Floyd Mayweather or even Conor McGregor for that matter. And if it truly is about legacy for Pacquiao at this stage of his career, then I agree with Justin Fortune. Manny Pacquiao has nothing to gain by giving McGregor the time of day. And that is all for today's Fightful Fix. Let us know in the comments section, what do you think about Anderson Silva versus Uriah Hall and Diego Sanchez versus Jake Matthews? And I think the more interesting question is, do you want to see Pacquiao and McGregor? And would you pay for it? Because I don't want to see it necessarily, but I would definitely end up watching it if it happened. You know what I mean? If you like this video, the best way you can help us out here is by hitting subscribe and tapping the notification bell. A like on this video doesn't hurt either. For Fightful MMA, I'm Shaquille Madjouri. I hope you all stay safe, and we'll catch you next time.